Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be putting all of the Buffies inside of a tier list. So we're going to be doing it in a two-part kind of way. So first off, we're going to be going through all 30 abilities that have been affected by the Buffies and putting them in a tier list, and then doing another tier list afterwards. So I'll just be doing those back to back and just purely ranking the Buffies, right? Because that's how you unlock them, just specifically. So for example, I'll be going through both of Colt's gadgets, both of Silver Bullet and the reworked speed loader, but then at the end as well, I'll be just like specifically putting that Colt Buffy inside of a tier list. So yeah, let me know whether you want me to change anything in the comments in a future one, but I think this is probably the best way to do it. And let's start off with the F tier. So there's only one kind of reworked ability that is in the F tier here, and that is Shelly's Shell Shock Buffy. So for me, I just think this pretty much does nothing. It just leaves area of effect burn. Like, it's not really going to do anything, right? Even if you catch people within it, it might do one tick of damage and then they're going to run outside of it. So yeah, it's an absolutely terrible ability. It's now already moving on to the D tier, and there's only one ability here in the D tier, and that's going to be Shelly's Band-Aid Star Power Buffy. So with this Buffy, you only get a 3-second speed boost, which is only 15% increase. And to be honest, I don't even notice a difference at all. I don't even realize that I've got the speed boost active. I think it is a bit better than Shell Shock, for example, just because you can just stay alive, just because of what the star power is. The Buffy doesn't really help it whatsoever, in my opinion. So now we're going to be moving on to the C tier. So there's a handful of these in the C tier, and to be honest, most of these are like okay. They're just not like overwhelmingly impactful. Like, you don't really notice too much of a difference. And the first off is Spike's Fertilized Star Power. So I feel like I would like this one eventually. It's probably just overshadowed by the other star power, but Fertilize, a lot of Spike mains are angry because it can change the way that Spike is played, but I kind of secretly like it because you can be more aggressive with your Spike super. So it's been reworked, and then the Buffy makes it deploy faster. You definitely notice a difference, especially against those tankier brawlers. I think this is an okay star power Buffy. It's just not anything crazy. Next up in the C tier, we have Frank's Active Noise Cancelling Buffy. So this one seems okay, and it has potential against those big damage projectiles, but it's going to be rare you use Frank in those game modes where, you know, like the Pipers and Nannies, the Mandy Supers, etc. You're not going to pick Frank on Shooting Star to like counter them. I mean, maybe there's a strategy where this becomes broken, but I don't really envision it whatsoever, and the 1200 damage isn't anything crazy, so I just don't think it's that impactful. Next we have Ems's Star Power Bad Karma. So with this star power, you decrease the damage of the opponents for 15% for 4 seconds, which seems okay. I think with this star power, it might be a little bit better than I'm making out here, but at the same time, it's just really hard to see the value with it, and yeah, it's not anything. I think with Ems anyways, like by the time you're in somebody's range and you're dealing damage, you should just be able to kill them anyways, if that makes sense. So I don't think the star power Buffy is anything crazy. And lastly in the C tier, we have Colt's Star Power Magnum Special Buffy. So with this Buffy, he deals increased damage the further away the target is, essentially, but I think like the maximum amount of extra damage you can deal is like 40 damage per bullet, which isn't anything crazy, to be honest. You think about it, right, in a full clip, how much extra damage is that really going to deal? What, like 200, 300 extra damage, which isn't anything like crazy in comparison to the other Buffies out there. So although this is my favorite star power with Colt, I might end up changing with these Buffies. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the B tier Buffies, and starting off with Mortis's Hypercharge Buffy. So this Hypercharge Buffy, I think a lot of these Hypercharge Buffies are just good in general because it can just help you in fights, and it gets an increase in your hypercharge duration. So that alone already is pretty good, right, in terms of value. But this actual, like, the ability is not that great. So he leaves behind like a phantom when you attack, and it arrives in a short delay afterwards. So it can help you in the extra damage department, but I feel like most of the time anyway with Mortis, the way that you're using your hypercharge, you're just trying to line up your hypercharge bats and you're dealing damage that way. So yeah, it can help a little bit, but it's not anything crazy. Next up we have Shelly's Hypercharge Buffy. So with this Hypercharge Buffy, your projectile speed from your main attack is increased greatly. So this sounds really good, but in theory it's not actually that great. I mean, it just feels fun. That's the cool thing about it, but it's not any, like, you don't deal like insane amounts of damage with this, but again, it can definitely help you out and build up your super much quicker. So I think B tier is perfect for it. Next up, we have Shelly's gadget fast forward Buffy. So with this Buffy, it means you're immune when you dash, which is a pretty cool ability. But at the same time, it's got a really long cooldown duration, 20 seconds, which is a little bit annoying. But since the rework, it has been a pretty decent gadget overall, but I'm just noticing that it's not really finding me too much value. So next up, we have Mortis's star power Buffy with Creepy Harvest, which to begin with, when I saw Brawl Talk, I thought it'd be an S tier broken ability, but only 500 additional health. I think against noobs, this could be a good star power, and maybe has potential in competitive play. If the playstyle of Mortis completely changes, I might be wrong with his star power Buffy, because it has potential. Extra health is a really toxic thing. But the problem with me is that I'm finding, like, again, the playstyle is just so slow with star power because you have to wait so long for that long dash. So for me, it has potential, but for now, I'm going to slot it in the B tier. Emz's Hypercharge Buffy actually feels pretty nice. So with this, you poison enemies with your main attack, which is pretty good. The additional duration as well, the additional knockback on top of this. I'm just finding that Emz's kit overall just feels so good since this Buffy rework. So another ability which is pretty good with them. Colt's Hypercharge Buffy is next, and this Hypercharge Buffy sound pretty broken, so that Brawl Talk, it allows you to fire your bullets much quicker whilst in Hypercharge, which sounds pretty good. Maybe I've not tested it enough. I'm just finding it a little bit difficult to get used to. I mean, it is good, right? Like this Hypercharge Buffy, of course, has got additional duration as well. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying other Buffy abilities are better. Next up, we have Emz's Gadget Buffy with Acid Spray. So this used to be one of the worst sprays inside of a game. Funny enough, I've actually really liked it. I played it in ranked a fair bit inside of like Center Stage and a few other maps. And the built-in slow is actually really, really strong, especially against those tanks. You can overwhelm people a lot. So I'll hold my judgment a little bit on it, but at the same time, I'm noticing it being pretty impactful. And lastly, for the B tier Buffies, we have Colt's Slick Boost Buffy. So with this, every single time you hit an attack, you gain a small movement speed boost. So this sounds pretty cool, and it is an okay effect, but at the same time, I'm not noticing it being like really overwhelmingly like strong inside of a 1 versus 1, because you're still like quite close to the opponents because you have to use the star power. Again, I might get used to it. I think it would be a lot better if it was just every single time you shot, you'd get that speed boost. Of course, that would be too broken, but you get what I mean. Sometimes I feel a little bit awkward. So now we're going to be moving on to the A tier Buffies, starting off with Spike's Curveball Star Power Buffy. So with this Buffy, it enables Curveball to just, the range is just so much bigger, and it actually allows Spike to compete with a lot of snipers on those longer range maps. So probably a tad overpowered in my opinion. I feel like over time people might learn how to juke out this Curveball, but for now, the increased range just feels absurd. Next up in the A tier, I went with Mortis's Coiled Snake Star Power Buffy. So with this one, every single time you dash with your long dash, you'll get a 40% damage reduction whilst dashing, which is actually really good. I played Mortis a few times inside a bounty, and I really noticed a difference, especially because of how frequently you have your long dash available just with the Coiled Snake Star Power already. So I feel like this one's a very underrated one. Next we have Frank's Star Power Buffy with Power Grab. So every single time you get a kill, you will heal up for 4,480 health over those 3 seconds. So that sounds pretty cool, but of course you still have to guarantee yourself the kill, and sometimes you know, getting that kill might be the final opponent on the field, and then all of them have to respawn. So sometimes it can be really strong, sometimes you're not going to find the value that you really want out of it, but overall I think it's definitely a strong Buffy. Next we have Colt's Buffy with his gadget Silver Bullet. So it deals an additional, I don't know how much more extra damage, but it can deal over 2k damage with this. It's a much bigger bullet, it will destroy more terrain. I think it fires at a longer distance as well. I don't know, it just seems pretty cracked, this gadget. It's not anything in comparison to when this gadget first came out. It was completely broken then, but it feels pretty powerful to me. And lastly in the A tier, I went with Colt's reworked Speed Loader Gadget Buffy. That's a tongue twister, that is. But honestly, I wanted to put this one in the S tier. I tried this out in the longer range maps, and it feels pretty broken, honestly. So I would personally put this in the S tier, but I know I'll just get a lot of troll comments out there. But try this one. So you'll fire out 2 quick bullets, which will slow targets and deal damage and consume some ammo. So every hit, it steals 1 ammo. I'm just finding this again on those longer range maps when I'm using Magnum Special. I can just burst down people so quickly. I'll auto-aim this at maximum range, slow them, steal their ammo, gain ammo myself, and I'll just shred through them. It's literally a free kill when you hit this, and it's nearly impossible to miss. So I'm finding this one to be insanely underrated. I'd say the most underrated Buffy by far on this list. So now moving into the S tier and starting off with Mortis's reworked gadget, Creature of the Night. So the actual Buffy itself, it seems weird because I'm putting him in the S tier, but I'm just finding this gadget to be very strong. The Buffy itself, it will actually deal some damage and it will heal you for the damage dealt. So I'm guessing just that overall will actually help things. So in some ways it can be a little bit predictable because of how slow the bat is when you go through walls. Sometimes, you know, if you mistime it, it's going to be terrible. But I'm finding when I'm up close and personal to people and they're about to use, I don't know, a high damage super, or you know, I'm weak, I can use this gadget, I will heal a lot from it, and then again, like, that will just turn the tide into my favor. So just think of it as like a mini bat super in that sense, getting back so much health through the damage that you deal. I think it's an insane gadget. Again, I don't know where the Buffy kind of ranks, but I'm finding the gadget to be very, very strong. Spike's Hypercharge Buffy is next, and with Spike's Hypercharge, his main attack, it will fire out 2 spike needles instead of 1. So with 3 pieces of ammo, you can fire out 6 spike needles, which is insane to me. This is one of the most broken abilities. I don't think I actually put this in order in the S tier, by the way, but to me this is just completely absurd. You pair this with Curveball, I'm finding myself team wiping without even meaning to like team wipe, if that makes sense. I'm just firing out a bunch of shots and I'm just ending up cycling supers like crazy. Yeah, this Buffy is completely broken. Next we have Spike's gadget Buffy with Life Plant. So again, this gadget is pretty busted in my opinion. Not only can you throw it since the rework, it will deal damage when the opponents are near it, it will knock them back as well, and just because that's a 14-second cooldown, I just think overall this gadget is completely busted. Just the amount you can do, the amount of pressure, you can just keep throwing out this life plan. And if someone, like, also there is a bug as well, I think it's a bug, where if you throw it close to people when they're inside of a bush, it will reveal their position inside of that bush. And apparently it also breaks walls as well. So there's a few bugs with it. There's just 14-second, everything about it to me is just broken. Next we have Shelly's Clay Pigeon Buffy. So with this, I think it might actually be the best Buffy available. It's completely broken, guys. There's a couple of reasons why. First reason is that it can be used 3 times per activation, so you can hold on to these clay pigeons for however long you want. There's no timer on it like before, which is just insane to me. One thing as well is that it's got a built-in slow, which feels like, I think with each hit, it increases the slow duration. I feel like multiple times I've been hit with this and I've been absolutely crippled. Like, I couldn't move. I don't know how this slow is judged. I'm guessing the more bullets that hit, the more you're slowed, I believe. That's probably how it works. Yeah, it's very crippling. And also what you can do with this gadget is that you can lay out all 3 clay pigeons instantly. So I'm talking like you can delete people. It's not like you're not always going to deal like maximum damage with it, but if you hit the sweet spot with it, you could probably deal upwards of like 9k damage at maximum range, 10k damage. It is pretty insane. All in all, I just think it's completely broken. So now moving on to another broken ability is Mortis's combo spinner Buffy. This is absolutely insane. So since the rework, it's completely broken, guys. You can hit this combo spinner through walls, which is insane. 10-second cooldown as well, and it deals more damage to low health targets. So I think sometimes I've dealt like 3k damage to people. I think I've noticed like 3.2k damage even onto somebody. It's completely busted. It's just I can't believe this is even a 10-second cooldown and you can fire it through walls. I don't know, and it has some good range to it as well. This has to be one of the best abilities in the game. Next we have Frank Sponge Buffy. So with this Buffy, when you're above 50% health, you take 15% less damage. And wow, I was playing Frank on Shooting Star on some knockout maps and I just couldn't be killed. And there was even a few times where I've had a healer behind me as well. Wow, they just couldn't even touch me. It was absolutely absurd. So I'm hoping that they tweak a few things about this star power, maybe make it so when he's only above 60% health or 70% health, he gets this additional buff. Or I actually thought it'd be better if it was when he's below 50% health, if you get what I mean. But yeah, it just feels really frustrating to face off against, and Frank's just too tanky with it. Frank's Hypercharge Buffy is next, and this one again is such a busted ability. So with this, it means your main attack speed is just boosted all the way up to the max. So think of it when you're low health in Frank, you can attack really fast. Your unload speed, it's like that all of the time in a hypercharge form with Frank. You can just burst through people so incredibly quickly. The amount of damage that you can put out is just insane to me. It absolutely is a must buy if you're looking to buy one of the Buffies. Next up, we have Frank's Gadget Irresistible Attraction Buffy. So with this Buffy ability, not only does it have the range of like a sniper, it feels like, in terms of the pull effect, you will also slow them for 5 seconds as well on top of that. I'm feeling like the pull is just too easy to hit, and again, it feels very overwhelming. A 5 second slow just has to be straight overkill. Like most slows in the game, I always think 5 seconds slow, that feels like a Crow slowing Toxin Gadget slow when it was 5 seconds all those years ago, and that was completely busted. You're thinking of some star powers that have slows built into them. This is literally better than some of these star powers that have to be activated through supers, whatever else. It's just a click of a button every 20 seconds. To me, it feels way too overpowered. Next up, we have Emz's star power Buffy Hype. So this one is completely busted. When I first saw it, I thought, okay, this ability just probably doesn't really belong on a brawler like Emz. Invulnerability for a whole second is absolutely busted. You've seen it with Draco. It's very cheesy. And yeah, it's definitely overkill. So I would really just like a complete rework to this because of how strong it is. But yeah, they need to be nerfing it to like 0.5 seconds at least before they do it like a rework in the future. I just realized as well the image is exactly the same as Creepy Harvest, but it is hype, guys. It's making Emz one of the best brawlers inside of the game. It is far too strong. And then moving on to Emz's Gadget Buffy Friend Zoner. So this again is completely busted, guys, because it's basically like a mini Gale super with a click of a button. It gives you that stun when you push up brawlers against wall. It's got like a decent range to it. All in all, like I used Mortis a few times into Emz, and it really felt that Emz counters Mortis now. I think Emz literally just counter Mortis with his stun, with the amount of damage that you can deal. And then again, I use Emz against Mortis, and I was just getting free kills every single time. Of course, you've still got to like land a stun onto the wall, but it just feels too easy. The projectile speed is quite fast with it. There's just so many broken things about it, in my opinion. Yeah, this Emz is just so crazy with these Buffies. And lastly, for all of the Buffies, then we have Spike's Popping Pincushion. So I'd actually put this at the lower end of S tier, so I don't know why I did it like this, but it's very strong. Especially, this is more so seeing other people's opinions about it. I'm yet to really see its true power, but I played it a handful of times and it did seem pretty powerful to me. So like at least 80 in my opinion. So it fires out like 3 waves of needles, I believe, that deal quite a bit of damage, and then it will root opponents like if you hit a couple of needles as well on top of that. I'm finding like already the extra DPS on top of Spike's already high damage, it just feels a little bit too much in my opinion, and the needles feel a little bit easy to hit. It's not got crazy range to it, but it just makes it really hard to push into a Spike in my opinion. So that's going to be the tier list on the screen. So that's going to be like the individual star powers, gadgets, and hypercharges as well. But as you know, one Buffy will unlock the Buffy for, well, both gadgets and both star powers for that brawler. So moving on to the next tier list, this is probably the one that you're going to be most interested in, especially if you're looking to buy any of the Buffies, or if you manage to, you know, RNG one of these Buffies, you know the power of the one that you got. So you won't be looking to unlock Shelly's star power Buffies because both of them are just pretty terrible and lackluster, but you will be looking to get quite a few of these. As you can imagine, new abilities in the game most of the time are pretty powerful, and Buffies are no exception here. They're very strong, especially if you're looking to get any of Frank's Buffies, for example. Emz and Spike have some really powerful Buffies as well. They're going to be the main ones you're looking to buy, or hopefully get through RNG. So that's going to be it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. A lot to really go through. After one day of just testing things out, I will be getting a few things wrong, and I will be doing a separate video talking about Buffies, guys. Don't you worry about it. So that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.